What's up, black family? This is Nate Fees. Today I'm gonna be examining why white people lie so damn much. I mean, you turn on the news every day and they lying about this, they lying about that, they lying on each other, they don't want to take accountability for shit. Now we know everybody lie. Black folks lie, Mexicans lie, Asians lie, even Indians lie. But no other race of people's lies are more dangerous than when white people lie. Why? Because they're the dominant society. When white people lie on you, everybody else white believe it. And we know that's some bullshit. That shit need to change, because they lying more than everybody else now. If they get offended, so fucking what? I'ma say this shit. Yeah, I'm coming with the top 7 reasons why white people lie so damn much. Watch the whole video, stay tuned for the solutions to this shit. Kick back, grab some popcorn, cause it's about to get deep.
Hey, why lie you? Truth comes out a little at a time.
Number one, people take what is not rightfully theirs.
In the late 1800s, there was something called the Dawes Rolls, which was basically a census that made records of people's ethnic backgrounds in order to determine which Native American tribes would get certain land allotments and other benefits. After slavery, many black people were associated with some of these tribes by bloodline, through marriage, through adoption, and even servitude. And because they were associated with these tribes, many black people were entitled to some of these benefits. The government did not want blacks to get these benefits, so they created a separate freedmen's list specifically for black people. They also started to list any full-blooded Native American who had African features as black, because they didn't want them getting those benefits either. At the same time, they allowed white citizens to come in and pay money under the table to be listed as part Native American.
1895 and 1896, when a lot of the whites found out the benefits that these blacks are going to be entitled to, a lot of whites went to the Dawes Commission and say, look, why don't you put my name on there? They said, but you're not an Indian. So that's what they said, well, I'll give you $5. So then the rule got around, the policy got around that for $5, that a white could put his name on the Dawes rolls and be called himself an Indian and be entitled to all these benefits, and all their children could be entitled to all these benefits forever. And so that became known as what's called a $5 Indian. And so if you go around now and check most of the Indians, the so-called Indians in America, about 90% of them are not even Indians. They're just whites now who are passing as Indians. But they're getting all the benefits. And they're not paying any taxes, getting free college education. They put up a little reservation on the land that they don't live on. They have another home off and get all kind of benefits.
Tuesday, May 31st, 1921. One day after Dick Rowland allegedly assaults Sarah Page on an elevator in downtown Tulsa, the police arrest Rowland and take him to the jail on the top floor of the courthouse. The incident becomes the talk of Tulsa.
As the story went around that he had touched her, hit her, knocked her to the ground, and it escalated and became more inflammatory with each telling.
Ultimately, things just steamrolled, totally out of control. And a large player in all this was the Tulsa Tribune, one of the major papers in town. The Tulsa Tribune ran a story titled "Nab Negro for Attacking Girl in Elevator."
This inflammatory article strongly implies that Dick Rowland, a black man, had raped the young white elevator operator, Sarah Page. 3:15 p.m. The newspaper hits the streets of Tulsa. Over the next 17 hours, the city will be consumed by a race riot on a scale never before seen in America.
By about 4 o'clock, you start to have a crowd of whites gathering in front of the courthouse, the downtown courthouse, where Dick Rowland was held. Over the next couple of hours, that crowd grows in size from 100 to 200 to 300.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it. And that we will in fact find weapons or evidence of weapons programs that are conclusive.
I don't think we'll discover anything myself.
It appears that there were not weapons of mass destruction there.
You said you knew where they were.
I did not.
We know where they are. They're in the area around Tikrit and Baghdad and east, west, south, and north.
Well, first of all, I haven't lied.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it.
Yep, white people lying for gas. Got their own oil, but they want everybody else's oil too. Need to get up and ride a bike, motherfuckers. Now, how many people died in the Iraq War because you lied?
Hey, why lie? Truth comes out a little at a time.
Hold it now, wait, hold it. That's played out.
They do it to escape accountability.
I want to say to my babies that your mama loves you so much, and your daddy, this whole family's love you so much. And you guys have got to be strong. Hey, I mean, they've got people everywhere looking for them. I mean, you know, you can hear the helicopters are there, and but they haven't seen anything, and it's crazy. And it's been since 9 o'clock last night, you know. And I really thought that when it got daylight, they would find them just in a heartbeat. But all I'm doing is just praying and just keeping my faith that they're going to be okay.
She said, a black man carjacked her car and drove away with 2 white kids in the back seat. There ain't a black man in here. There ain't a black man in your family. It ain't a black man in this country gonna steal a car, drive off, realize it's 2 white kids in the back seat, and keep going. Shit, we to back that car up. Hi. Get y'all's ass out. Get the hell out the car. Sorry about that, lady. Get the hell out. Get your ass out. Oh, sorry about that. My bad.
Homeless man accused of trying to kidnap a 3-year-old from McDonald's will not be facing that very serious charge.
A review of the restaurant surveillance tape does not back up that accusation. West 2's Dave McDaniel looks at how police and a local attorney moved in today to get the man his freedom.
West 2 News had the only camera in the jail for this emergency hearing. A prosecutor said the state will more than likely not move forward with either a kidnapping or a robbery charge against 58-year-old Andrew Shepard. A local mother said she and her son were terrified by Shepard's actions in this Sanford McDonald's on New Year's Day. She says the homeless man grabbed at her son.
I was just really scared and frightened, and then the guy had walked behind me and tried to grab my purse. He said to me, I'm a homeless person, and if you were a decent person, you would give me some money. After he had tried to grab Luke.
She's not talking about the case now, saying her attorney told her not to.
When I saw this story on the news the other night, I said, this did not happen. That is a nice guy who's had some bad things happen to him that ended up on.
Local attorney Mark Nation said he had met Andrew Shepard doing some homeless outreach through his church. Before he could even go to bat for Shepard, police confirmed the tape from inside the McDonald's doesn't support a kidnapping.
There's no evidence of any type of struggle between the child, the mother, or Mr. Shepard that was on the video.
His getaway plan was to sit across the street and drink a cup of coffee. And he was shocked when the police showed up and said that he was being accused of kidnapping a child. He very poignantly said, what would a homeless man want with a child?
They needs to take this fat heifer and drown her stinking ass.
A difficult day for Millbury Police, the wife of one of their own officers facing charges. It all began back on October 17th when Maria Daly reported a burglary at the family home, jewelry and money stolen. She also said the house was tagged with graffiti, possibly referencing the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, police say they've determined the entire account was false. Just after she filed the report, Daly took to social media saying, "We woke up to not only our house being robbed while we were sleeping, but to see this hatred for no reason."
But once again, if you'd have been looking at her reaction, you would have knew, like I knew from the first interview, something is awry. Because see, you can't fool me.
So the police officer who shot Walter Scott had radioed in with his body radio to claim that Scott had, quote, grabbed my taser 6 seconds after firing his final shot. We now have, in spite of the radio evidence, shots fired, subject is down, he grabbed my taser. We have stabilized slow motion video, which appears to show, and we will let the audience decide as I talk here, appears to show the police officer dropping a taser, planting a taser next to the body of Walter Scott. The slow motion video is playing here. I have watched this numerous times. Every indication, Lewis, is that indeed the officer had the taser on him. It had not been stolen by Walter Scott, and that the taser was dropped by the officer next to Scott's body.
Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace obtained the dash cam tapes, and she spoke exclusively with him. Sarah?
Well, Diana and Sade, quite a turnabout. All of the criminal charges against Marcus Jeter have been dismissed. 2 Bloomfield cops have now been indicted. A third quietly pleaded guilty to tampering and retired. It's all because of video the cops may have tried to hide.
Get out the car! Get out!
This is the Bloomfield Police Department's dash cam video that prosecutors say they never saw when they pursued criminal charges against 30-year-old Marcus Jeter. Notice his hands in the air. He was charged with eluding police, resisting arrest, and assault. And also notice who throws repeated punches.
If the tape hadn't surfaced,
I was going to be doing jail.
The incident began when cops were called to the Bloomfield home Jeter shares with his girlfriend. No charges were filed, and Jeter says he left after briefly talking to officers.
They say you were eluding them.
When they were behind me with the lights on, I pulled right over,
So you weren't trying to escape?
No, I wasn't trying to escape.
In a video from the first police car, prosecutors did see Jeter stops on the side of the Garden State Parkway. The cops pull out guns.
Why didn't you just get out of the car?
Because I was afraid. There was a cop on my left with a gun pointed at me, and there was one on my right side with a shotgun pointed. I'm afraid that I might get shot.
If you got out?
Mm-hmm.
The tape not initially turned over is on the dash of a second police car that comes from the opposite direction, crosses the median into ongoing traffic, and then strikes Jeter's car. There is no mention of that in any police report. When Jeter first told his attorney that part of the story,
it was incredible. I didn't believe his story at that particular point in time.
So you finally believed him then?
Yes.
The next thing I know, as he's coming around the car, the glass gets busted, and all the glass goes in my face.
Get out the car!
Your hands are up?
My hands are up. As soon as he opened the door, one of the officers reached in and just punched me in my face. As he's trying to take the seatbelt off, he's elbowed me in my jaw. And I'm like, ah! And he's like, stop trying to take my gun.
Don't go for my gun!
Stop resisting arrest. Stop trying to take my gun. And as he's saying that, I just knew, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, okay, this is going to go wrong.
Get down! Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Why are you trying to get my gun? Get off my gun!
And right before when they opened the door about to put me in, the officer hits me in the back of the head again.
as soon as prosecutors saw this video, they dismissed all of the charges against Jeter. Interesting to note, an investigation by Bloomfield PD's scandal-plagued Internal Affairs Division had found no wrongdoing by police officers.
The blame is with the Bloomfield Police Department not providing that tape. If we hadn't had the tapes in this particular case, an innocent man would be in jail today.
I'm sure that if this happened to me, it could happen to a bunch of other people, you know.
Scary, right?
It's a scary situation.
They create a fantasy, a false self-esteem to escape their mundane life.
Hollywood whitewashing. How is this still a thing? In just 1 week, we'll celebrate the Academy Awards. They promise to be controversial, as for the second year running, the nominees are whiter than a Yeti in a snowstorm, fighting Tilda Swinton. And yet some are arguing it's not entirely the Academy's fault.
Some observers say Hollywood just doesn't provide enough good roles for black actors.
One of the reasons for this might be that even when there are roles for non-white actors, they sometimes still get played by white people.
In Prince of Persia, based on a video game set in ancient Iran, Jake Gyllenhaal plays the title character.
That's right. Jake Gyllenhaal, a white American with a Swedish last name, was cast to play the Prince of Persia from, you know, Persia. And he's far from alone. Just last year, Emma Stone played the half-Asian Allison Eng in Aloha.
Ho'olalea.
Apparently, aloha means hello, goodbye, and you've got to be fucking kidding me. And when Hollywood needed actors to play Egyptians in Exodus Gods and Kings, it knew just what to do.
Moses, Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
That was a guy from Australia and a guy from Britain, pretending to be two guys from Egypt, a country in Africa. And if you like that, don't miss Gods of Egypt opening Friday, starring a Scottish guy.
I shall be your one true God.
Wow, that's the whitest Egyptian since these four. All of this is nothing new. White actors have taken roles designed for every ethnicity throughout Hollywood history. From John Wayne as Genghis Khan in The Conqueror.
Your treacherous head is not safe on your shoulders.
To the non-Puerto Rican Natalie Wood as Maria in West Side Story.
Buenas noches.
To the multiple instances of white actors playing Asian characters, from Marlon Brando.
Sakini by name, interpreter by profession.
To, of course, this.
You cannot go on or keep ringing my bells.
It's a performance the New York Times in 1961 actually praised as broadly exotic. Seriously. Yes, there's no shortage of roles for white actors playing non-white characters. The historical figure you're playing wasn't white? Not a problem. The contemporary figure you're playing wasn't white? Not a problem. The cartoon the movie was based on was entirely about non-white people? Not a problem. Your characters are named Esteban and Clara Trueba in the Isabel Allende novel the movie is based on? Right this way, Jeremy Irons and Meryl Streep. And even when a non-white person does score a major role, when they make the porn parody, guess what happens?
Don't worry, I got this one.
No, Glenn. Put your dick away.
And when filmmakers get called out on whitewashing, the justification is less to do with black and white and more to do with green.
Director Ridley Scott told Variety magazine he can't mount a $140 million film and say that my lead actor is Mohammed so-and-so from such and such.
Yeah, you needed the white-hot star power of whoever the fuck this guy is. And maybe all of this would be less egregious if any time an actor of color took on a traditionally white role, half the country didn't go ape shit.
The appearance of a black stormtrooper in the first trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens is causing a lot of chatter on social media, even some racist comments.
Several people were apparently upset that the actress playing the character is African American.
He'd be the first black Bond. The author of those Bond novels saying Elba is too, quote, street.
Yes, if you're black, even if you're an actor who sometimes dresses like French Waldo, people will still say you're too street. And this isn't even getting into how movies about minorities will still put white people in the foreground. How are we supposed to believe Tom Cruise is the last samurai? This guy is the last samurai? This guy? This guy is the last samurai? This guy. This guy is the last samurai. Fuck you. So when you hear people say the Oscars are so white because the roles aren't there, just remember, the Academy gave Oscars for characters named Olan, Billy Kwan, and Luis Molina to actors named Louise, Linda, and William, all of which is enough to make you ask, Hollywood whitewashing, how is this still a thing?
I guess being white is boring as hell, because they sure want to be everybody else. Oh, culture vulture asses. Like this lying-ass Dolezal. That ain't your daddy, bitch.
Well, I definitely am not white.
Tonight, the former chapter president of the NAACP, accused of pretending she's black for more than a decade, responding to NBC about these photos shared by her estranged family, where she's clearly blonde-haired and blue-eyed.
Nothing about being white describes who I am.
Rachel Dolezal was born to two Caucasian parents, but over the years, she's changed the way she looks, and her story is igniting outrage, offense, and a national conversation on race and ethnicity. But she's firing back, saying she identifies as black. In an interview with MSNBC's Melissa Harris Perry.
I have really gone there with the experience in terms of being a mother of two black sons and really owning what it means to experience and live in blackness.
Even as a white child growing up in Montana, she says she's identified as black, but was conditioned not to own it.
From a very young age, felt I don't know if it's spiritual, visceral, just very instinctual connection with Black is beautiful.
She says as a child, she preferred to draw pictures of herself using a brown crayon instead of a peach one. But her parents tonight say that's not true.
This did not happen.
Not at that early age.
This is a fabrication because we were very in touch with our children as they were growing up. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was in touch with the teachers at school when she went to elementary school. This just simply didn't happen. She didn't ever draw herself as an African American.
They say she's as white as they are.
It's alarming that Rachel continues to make false statements and have no acknowledgement that she has been doing that, and it's become an issue.
The way she styles her hair, what some see as the tan in her skin, and her deep dive into Black academia have many tonight suggesting she's an ethnic fraud. Here she is speaking at a civil rights rally.
Like Maya Angelou says, you know, through all of the struggle, through all of the pain, we still rise.
Are you a con artist? I don't think so.
She walked away from the NAACP Monday, resigning from her leadership position in Spokane. Colleagues, co-workers, and many others in the Black community are saying her explanations aren't enough.
Your actions speak much louder than your words. If you didn't want to be a liability to the cause, you would have came clean from the beginning. You would have told the truth from the beginning, and people would have accepted her.
The controversy blew up when she was caught on camera, unable to answer a simple question. Was she Black or white?
Are you African American?
I don't understand the question of, I did tell you that, yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents, are they white?
She got busted, trying to be Black. I don't blame her, we tight. But don't be an imposter, be yourself. Every time Black folks get something cracking, next thing you know.
What they doing? They smiling in your face. All the time they wanna take your place. The backstabbers. Backstabbers. They smiling in your face. All the time they wanna take your place. The backstabbers.
They backstabbers because of that damn television, all that lying they be doing. Even the newscasters be lying.
NBC anchor Brian Williams has been caught in an outright lie about his reporting in Iraq.
The story actually started with a terrible moment a dozen years back during the invasion of Iraq.
2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47.
Our traveling NBC News team was rescued, surrounded, and kept alive by an armored mechanized platoon from the U.S. Army 3rd Infantry.
No, they weren't. The best way to kill a good war story, of course, is a witness. And that's exactly what one U.S. soldier did. Lance Reynolds took to Facebook to call out the veteran host. I don't remember you being on my aircraft. He added, I do remember you heading to Kuwait to report your, quote, war story to the nightly news. Well, the journalist not only took to Facebook to apologize for what he made seem like a slight memory lapse. Not sure how you can mix up being shot in a helicopter by an RPG, but Williams took to the broadcast with a sorry.
I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft. We all landed after the ground fire incident.
A little late for an apology. A white lie 12 years ago is nothing compared to the black lies about Iraq NBC and other networks told to back the invasion in the first place.
Hey, why lie? Truth comes out a little at a time.
Move your hands. They do it to avoid punishment.
And they don't want to give black people credit. They don't want to give us any credit. They just want to blame everything on niggas. Didn't some white man in Boston shoot his pregnant wife and then shot himself? Oh, niggers did it. Always trying to blame some niggas. And they believe the shit.
One man's actions shocked the country and put Boston on the defensive for racism. On the night of October 23rd, 1989, Charles Stewart, known as Chuck to his friends, murdered his pregnant wife, Carol, as a way to commit insurance fraud and gain enough money to open a restaurant. One would think that this would be an easily solved domestic violence case, but that was not so. Charles blamed the shooting on a black man and covered up the evidence by shooting himself as well. The case ended up revealing the ugly sides of Boston, its racist attitudes, gender inequality, and political corruption.
Then I've been always trying to blame a goddamn nigga.
He shot me. I can't believe he shot me. Why did he shoot me? I'm just trying to help him.
In this exclusive interview, Officer Sherry Hall sat beside her children and described for us the moment she was ambushed while on patrol.
It knocked every bit of breath out of me, and it actually dropped me to my knees. And but I know I had to get back up. I couldn't lay there. I had to get up.
The 4-year police veteran told investigators a black man in a green shirt fired a single shot at her, then took off running. Her family was pleading for an arrest. Hall says she was suffering from third-degree burns and bruises.
Good evening.
But in a major twist Friday, police say that elaborate tale she told our cameras was all a lie.
That's why I'm gonna start a new ad. 900 blame a nigga. So when white folks get in trouble, just call my agency. Blame a nigga. I just pushed my mother down the stairs. I don't want to go to jail. Send a nigger over here. All right, I got one on parole. I'll send him right over, ma'am.
A Philadelphia police officer who said he was shot on the job is about to lose that job and could lose his pension because it was all a lie.
It's a lie, he told Commissioner Ramsey, even us, Fox 29, but it all unraveled last night.
That lie could have turned deadly or caused a racial firestorm.
2 males were having a string of burglaries in the area, and as I went to approach the 2 males, one ran, and I went to grab the other male, and he turned around, and after a struggle, he shot me in the shoulder.
We have found that this entire story was fabricated and that the sergeant actually shot himself.
The gunshot went off real close to my head, so it kind of like knocked off my equilibrium, and I did get a round off into him, and then I fell to the ground.
We had forensic evidence recovered at the scene that did not match with the story.
It's a black male. He had cornrows at the time, longer face, scruffy beard, and a tattoo under his eye. I believe it was teardrops or letters or something.
Sometimes they do it to inflict pain.
Chris, tell the judge that I caught this bitch in the kitchen, in the cookie jar, trying to steal some of them oatmeal raisins. She thought I had a gun in my hand. I was about to hit her in the head with a house shoe. Bitch, you ain't got no business in my kitchen trying to get none of them oatmeal raisins. Get up out my kitchen.
Diamond cross necklace, and I touched it. And I said, oh, this one's pretty. Simply touched it, did not pick it up, didn't, take it, nothing like that. And then one of his friends, I'm not too sure his name.
I was admiring it. It was a diamond cross necklace. And as I was admiring it, simply just standing over it, looking at it, didn't touch it, didn't pick it up, wasn't trying to take it, anything to that sort. When
an exclusive interview with the woman who shocked the country when she claimed she'd been attacked by a stranger with...
That stranger is a black woman, you dick.
When she admitted that she made it all up. Now, we want to warn you that some of the images in this report may be tough to watch. ABC's Abby Bedreau has her story.
From victim, I could actually hear it bubbling and sizzling in my skin, to villain.
It makes me sick.
3 years ago in Vancouver, Washington, 28-year-old Bethany Storrow told police out of nowhere a woman threw liquid acid in her face.
That woman was black. Hello?
Storrow did it to herself. In this exclusive interview with ABC News, Storrow is speaking out on camera for the first time. And I made a mistake, and I hope that people will forgive me and give me a chance because I'm a good person. I promise. I am.
Yeah, okay. Oh, crack it down.
Donald Andrews Jr. operates a so-called smoke shop on Mohawk Avenue in Scotia. It sells incense and other smoking paraphernalia, legal stuff, but material that might also be repurposed for other illicit activities. Scotia and Schenectady County Police became suspicious and targeted Andrews' shop, sending an undercover informant in twice in March. The second time, Andrews' attorney, Kevin Lebrand, does play-by-play that appears to show the informant planting, then photographing crack cocaine that led to Andrews' arrest.
Donald turns, he comes in, places the crack on the counter, crack which under federal sentencing guidelines would get him 4 years in jail. Under New York state law would get him 2 to 7 years in jail.
There are 7 cameras in plain view in Andrews' small store. Here's a second clear angle.
He walks in, places the crack cocaine on the counter.
Members of the Schenectady chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference viewed the apparent framing of an African-American businessman and were outraged.
It was a setup, and I believe that he was racially profiled and targeted, and it would be easy for them to say that he was selling drugs because he was black.
No paperwork. Just sprinkle some crack on him. Let's get out of here.
They do it to feel better in the moment, to steal admiration.
In the latest CBS News survey, it shows this, that a majority of likely voters believe Hillary Clinton will win the election. 55%, in fact, say they expect that, while 31% say they believe Donald Trump will be victorious.
Yeah, them posers lying their ass off, too. Had y'all thinking Hillary had it in the bag. Obama thought his legacy was intact. Bill was ready to get his Monica Lewinsky on. Look at it. We won, Lincoln bedroom, here we come. But then something happened. Trump started whooping her motherfucking ass. All them polls was wrong. Oh no, Hillary's gonna lose, no. Shit, dead, out for the count. Now you got all these crying ass white people, and Trump is loving it. He drinking them tears, just drinking them. Hillary supported tears. But that's what y'all get, trying to go off how you feel for the moment, instead of accepting reality. You lost and was never gonna win. Stupid.
I got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again. I'm mad, but I ain't stressing. True friends, one question.
Why the archaeologists gotta knock all the noses off the damn artifacts? Something's very fishy here. Archaeologists like, we gotta knock the noses off the Negroes have large noses, and then I will expose how great these people are. We can't have that. And like Indiana Jones, they just went in there knocking off noses like mafia hits, climbing on top of statues to get the motherfuckers off. We'll have no nigger noses here, not even Michael Jackson's. But see, you're telling on yourself, because Egypt is in Africa, not the Caucasus Mountains, lying bitches.
As the saga of lies continues.
They do it to gain an advantage to exploit others.
The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment. Deprivation of rights and failed responsibility.
Oh shit.
The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment was an experiment that the government did on 399 black men in Alabama who had syphilis.
Is that a bitch?
It was an awful, unjust, and irresponsible thing that the government did occurring from 1932 to 1972.
Wasn't long ago.
Doctors failed to tell the men of their condition, syphilis, and when a cure came out for syphilis in 1947, the doctors also failed to provide the men with this cure.
that.
The men had a right to know that they had syphilis, and the government and doctors had a responsibility to tell them what they were doing. The government failed at doing their responsibility, and as a result, the men were deprived of their rights.
Reparations.
Tuskegee is a city in Macon County, Alabama, where over 95% of the population is black people. Here is where the Tuskegee syphilis experiment took place. The Tuskegee study didn't start out as we know it today, though. It began as a study to document and treat syphilis in the black population. When funding was cut because of the Great Depression, the U.S. Public Health Service stopped the original study and turned it into what it became and is known for today. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment lasted 40 years, although it was originally only supposed to last 6 months. During this time, the U.S. Public Health Service used these 399 men to study the long-term effects of untreated syphilis in black men.
That's the cat did me. Make sure you cover up them jewels.
A mother screaming for justice.
Ma'am, my kid's not here. He's dead because of him. He ruined my life. I'd like him to go to hell and rot there forever.
Ma'am, come on.
No, you know what he told everybody in court? They need to be held accountable for their actions. You need to be. Do you remember me? Do you remember me? Do you remember my son? An all-star wrestler? He's good. He shot himself in the heart. You scumbag.
Justice for her son, who killed himself last year after a Pennsylvania judge sentenced him to serve time at a youth detention center. That was 6 months ago. Now, former judge Mark Ciavarella is heading to federal prison for 28 years on corruption charges. He was found guilty of taking nearly $1 million from a developer who built a detention facility. Not only that, the same judge also sentenced youngsters for, listen to this, stealing a jar of nutmeg, posting webpage jokes about a school official just to fill up the detention centers. This whole kids for cash scheme, that's how it's being called. It left many victims wondering why they were being punished.
I was honestly expecting like some form of like simple probation or some type of fine or something. Like the last thing I expected was to get sent away.
The victims' families say he will have a chance to think about what he's done, just like he asked his victims to do when he was the judge.
I see Justin and Megan and Courtney and Brick and Mark and Rachel and Sheila and Caroline are all...
Why didn't you never play with me?
You worse than hell. You'd get a nigga killed no matter what. I don't want to play with you.
Well, if and you don't, I'll just tell my papa you tried to rape me. Get out of here, you damn nigger!
One day, I was walking alone in the woods. I was just walking nice by myself. And then you came up to me. You were in a sweet light, real sweet light. And all of a sudden, you attacked me.
Miss Blanche, I never done...
Hush your mouth. This is my story. You attacked me. You raped me. Now, when Master Hammond comes home, well, I gotta tell him. I gotta tell him what you done. What you think he gonna do? Whoop you? Sell you? Oh, no, Meade. He's gonna kill you.
He won't believe you, Miss Blanche.
He'll believe me. He won't believe a nigger.
Attack! Attack! Oh, I'm being raped! I'm being raped! Oh, help me, somebody!
Did y'all see that?
Nate Parker was found not guilty of rape. Nate Parker was found not guilty of rape. Nate Parker was found not guilty of rape.
Yeah, at some point I have to say it. You know, I was falsely accused. You know, I went to court and I sat in trial. You know, I was vindicated. I was vindicated. I was proven innocent. I was vindicated. And I feel terrible that this woman isn't here. You know, and I feel terrible that, you know, her family had to deal with that. But as I said, an apology is no.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
Number one, first you gotta recognize a white racist liar. And I'm gonna tell you how to do that. See, they'll start telling these little nigger jokes.
Like, what do you call a nigger in a tree with a briefcase? Branch manager.
And this comes usually about 2 or 3 days from meeting them. They gotta bring up the fact that you black. They can't help it.
I don't mean nothing by it. We're cool, right? We're cool. I love black people.
And they'll be the first one talking about,
He did it, officer. He did it.
and the cops are gonna believe him. That's why you gotta do number 2. Gain your independence, ladies and gentlemen. Black people are white people's last enablers. It's the coons among us, the ones who don't love being black, that enable whites to abuse the blacks who love being black, if that makes any sense. Dr. Boyce Watkins says it all the time. Gain your financial sovereignty. When they lie, at least you have money for bail. Number 3, get that audio and video equipment, man. Keep it on you at all times. You know, in the presence of all white folks, you never know who's who.
Fuck you!
And what you want to do is rob them of their incentive to lie on you. White people's biggest nightmares is just the thought of having to spend time in prison with Tyrone in them.
I'm scared of getting anally raped.
Use that fear to your advantage, black man. But you wouldn't have to if you did number 4, and that's just stay away from them. Stop saying not all whites are racist. Though that may be true, you as a black person have to make them earn their not all status. It's not to be given. When they get to tripping, you gotta be like this black lady. Leave. And I know what you're saying. Man, I work with them, man. I live next to them. I don't know what to do. What you want me to do? Well, you gotta stay aware. You gotta know your surroundings.
I can have a good time sitting at the mall watching chicks trying on sneakers at the Foot Locker.
No, that's hard for some of you black men out here. You love being around that white pussy. But think about what happened to Chris Brown.
Listen to these reasons and see if any or all of these apply to you. Because there's been a lot of research about why people lie. I mean, everybody lies. I mean, like, does this dress make me look fat? No. White lies. But then there are more difficult lies. Number one, people take what is not rightfully theirs. They do it to get something that isn't theirs. I mean, there's a sense of entitlement. It's like, I want this, and I can't have it, so I'm going to lie to get it in some way. They do it to escape accountability. They create a fantasy, a false self-esteem to escape their mundane life. They do it to avoid punishment. Sometimes they do it to inflict pain. They do it to feel better in the moment, to steal admiration. They don't earn the admiration, they steal admiration. They do it to gain an advantage to exploit others. These are the most common reasons that people lie. How would you score yourself on that list? I mean, obviously, you've done it to take what is not rightfully yours.
I would say probably like 80% of those apply to me at one time or another in lying.